Well, welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast. This is the summer scouting edition with Anthony. So, Anthony, it is May 3rd. The NFL Draft was, I guess it was last weekend. It feels like it was so long ago, but I guess it was just last weekend, right?
Yeah. It's only been a week and a half now, whatever it's been. But this is exciting. It is a little weird. We call it summer scouting because it's not the summer yet. But nevertheless, this is an exciting time putting the 2026 board together. There's some fun players in this class, and I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, and just to give the audience a little bit of, I'm going to, let's say, set the expectations of what you're about to hear. So we're going to be covering 18 and 12. We're going to be covering 30 players at 5 different positions. So Anthony has had the time to watch some players. If you think that we forgot a player, definitely drop it into the chat. And every week you will see a different draft professor doing their summer scouting for the next 15 weeks. And if you want to hear Anthony's full board coming out of the summer, you got to come back in August because Anthony will be back to talk about his favorite players at the end of August as we enter the college football season. So, Anthony, I think the first position you wanted to talk about was wide receivers. So what wide receivers have you watched and liked?
Yeah, so wide receivers are interesting. Last year I think everybody was on the Tetaroa and Luther Burden train, 2 very different receivers. This year, I don't know if there's a clear-cut wide receiver one, going into the season, but for me, I think that the big names that you may have already heard, guys like Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, really came alive as Sam Levitt's number 1 target for the Sun Devils, and he's expected to have a really big season as long as he could stay healthy. Denzel Boston is a big target out of Washington, 6'4", 209, but moves incredibly well for his size. And obviously his former teammate Rome Odunze also was a top 10 pick a couple of years ago, so he could very well be on that trajectory. Speaking of schools churning out great wide receivers, Carnell Tate from Ohio State is very much in the lineage of Buckeye wide receivers that we've seen go to the NFL. Just a big, reliable target that even as wide receiver 3 for the Buckeyes last season, still made big plays in big games. So definitely somebody to watch as he likely gets more targets and playing time opposite Jeremiah Smith. Antonio Williams out of Clemson is a very just dynamic, explosive playmaker. Undersized, I guess, sure, but he's just so quick and has he's actually pretty tough, I'd say. He almost plays above his weight, so to speak. Makes some tough catches. So he's an exciting playmaker to watch this year. One guy that I am just going to keep banging the drum on until next April is Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State. I think he is a special talent, and you can watch the playoff run that North Dakota State had this past season. I believe it was they played Montana State and South Dakota State, I think were the 2 games. But he makes catches that normal people don't make. Normal wide receivers don't make some of the catches that he was able to make last year. He had 17 touchdowns. He is big. He's 6'3", 204, but very athletic. And my guess he's actually fairly quick for his size. I would guess like a high 4.4 speed guy. So I am all on the Bryce Lance train, and I haven't seen any mock drafts with him in it. And I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know if I don't know about something that would make him not be a top receiver. But buy the Bryce Lance stock now is what I would say. And finally, I would highlight Zachariah Branch. He just transferred to Georgia from USC this past season. Smaller guy, I think he was 5'10", 175, something like that. But another just quick separator, able to run good routes and get open and then use his speed to make really dynamic plays. At the very least, he is a very potent kickoff return option, but I think he can carve out a really good slot role if he gets just more consistent and we see more reliability when he's at Georgia this year. But yeah, so those are some receivers for sure that I think you should be looking at.
So I love that list. Love the call outs of who's the gentleman from North Dakota State?
Bryce Lance, who is the brother of North Dakota State legend quarterback Trey Lance, former third overall pick. So yes, there is a family lineage there.
So what I like about the draft professors is we're probably going to stumble upon plenty of players like this. I would say that the content gold for anybody that is following our podcast through the summer scouting is you need to watch Bryce Lance. I would say he's a must-watch because we don't see other publications talking about him. That's a player that we should begin to talk about and that anybody that follows this podcast will know about. So definitely would like to point that out. And you're confident with your evaluation style that right now, I think you told me that you've evaluated just over 50 players, but you think all these players would be in your top 100 coming out of the summer?
Those 6 receivers, I could definitely see all 6 of them being top 100 guys for sure. I think maybe the only one I'd be a little not as confident on is Zachariah Branch, because I can see the world where he just doesn't really produce a ton at Georgia and kind of sort of gets lost in their offense. But I do think he flashed enough just explosive playmaking ability that you could still have him as a top 100 guy. But yeah, all of those guys are, I would say, pretty solidly top 100.